Good morning. Welcome to the Casadega Lyceum. My name is Reverend Dr. Philip DeLong. And I would like to welcome all those who are in attendance here and all those on our internet audience. Okay, the way I approach Lyceum is there is a teaching, but there's active discussion as well. Okay. We're going to start with our opening principles. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomenon of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm that the moral responsibility of the individual and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul, here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Today I'm going to talk on a couple subjects. The first is spirituality. Who are spiritualists in the spiritual sense of the term? Only those who strive to live a sacred life in accordance with the principles of right and justice. There are many people who think or call themselves spiritualists, but they are not good examples because of the temperaments they live. To really know a person, you must study their life carefully because temperaments differ greatly among many people. Did you ever try to make something and have it look different when finished from what you had first intended? Okay. Things with our creativity can happen, and sometimes the creativity takes a lot of trial. Some people's actions and reactions are often different from what they planned them to be, and what others think about those actions and reactions may greatly differ also. Okay? I may have a temperament. I might not like Peter here until I get to know him real good. But until I walk in Peter's shoes, I should have a non-committal type attitude, or a non-judgmental attitude is more like it. A man might see another in trouble. He feels prompted to help him. His offer or attempt may be rejected or repulsed, being accused mentally or audibly of interfering or meddling. It is difficult to know the motives or circumstances of others. So give everyone the credit of meaning well until you know absolutely that he does not. So give the person the benefit of the doubt. Okay? We can't jump to judgment or conclusions. And a lot of people do that. So the only difference between observation and judgment is that judgment has the attachment of right associated with it. So in the sense of a spiritualist, observe, think with our minds, and then act. It is the little words or deeds which tell. When a person is kind and gentle at home or in an unfamiliar place, but is in a stressful situation or experiencing difficult circumstances, then this will show he or she is striving to lead a spiritual life. Right? There are many, what I would call, sacrifices that we make when we become spiritual. And many people have come from different backgrounds, different religions. And when they accept spiritualism and that communion with God, that communion with nature through the natural laws, then we can see the progression. Other qualities which show spiritually are selflessness, loving kindness, purity, generosity, thoughtfulness, and temperament. In contrast, it is spiritual to make fun. This is a question. In contrast, is it spiritual to make fun of another child's clothes, laugh at their mistakes, say unkind things about them, sneer at his good behavior or perfect lesson, provoke him or her to be angry or sad, or take what rightfully belongs to them? Okay, in the children's Lyceum, this would be an example of bullying. All right? So, but is bullying spiritual? Everybody knows the answer to that. Okay? Put yourself in that child's place and question yourself if you would like to have these things done to you. Right? That is why we apply the golden rule. And let your conscience be your guide. Right? Bring in Jiminy Cricket. Okay. Cultivate the spiritual qualities within yourself and be a shining example of a true spiritualist in the spiritual sense of the term. Okay, that is on spirituality. Now there are 14 points of the aim of spiritualism. The first one is, the aim of spiritualism is to bring about a complete atonement and union with God so that our every action and thought is in perfect harmony with divine will. To put it another way, the aim of spiritualism is to bring us to the point where our will and God's will are one and the same. Two, spiritualism lays down no creed, uses no symbol, holds no time or place sacred exclusively. Okay? Holds no symbol, right? What do you think about the sunflower? The emblem of spiritualism is a symbol that we embrace. Number 3, it cheerfully lives out its religion in all times, places, acts, words, and thoughts. 4, it considers rites and ceremonies as not essential and only useful to those who need them. 5, it does not make the means to an end, honoring the sign only for what it signifies. Okay? I got itchy palms. Time to buy a lotto ticket, right? But it's not a means to an end. Okay. 6, its house of worship is everywhere. Its shrine is a good heart. Its creed is truth. Its rituals, works of good deeds and service. Its profession of faith is living a divine life, thinking thoughts of spiritual beauty and purity within, and doing good deeds to all, thus expressing love of God. Okay? We see good deeds everywhere. We call them almsgiving. And just hold a door for a person. Let a person cut in line at the grocery store. These are all good deeds. Number 7, spiritualism does good for goodness sake. It makes no pardon for its errors. It only seeks the opportunity to correct or atone for them. Thus, it expresses personal responsibility, as was stated in one of our principles. Number 8, spiritualism bows to no idols, whether they are wooden, metallic, human, or written. Number 9, it worships only truths and rejects all false statements, even when they are upheld by history or the power of religious custom or tradition. All right, so truth. And history is an important part of our truth. And we have to look at who writes it or who rewrites it. Number 10, it counts no good word irrelevant. Just because a person does not believe in God, nor does it consider a lie to be true just because it is uttered by those whom the world calls sacred. In other words, it greatly accepts every true word, every earnest appeal for good, and any counsel spoken by another. Okay. I grew up, and even some of the people around here would say, a white lie is not going to hurt anybody. Okay? But it's a trap. Once you build on that lie, it's going to just start rolling down the mountain like a boulder and or like, say, a snowball rolling down a mountain and just gathering and gathering and building, and eventually that avalanche is going to crush you. Okay, number 11. Its watchword is, "Be ye perfect as God is perfect." Thus it makes each of our own redeemers and ministers. 12. It calls God infinite intelligence, not king, Jesus, brother, not redeemer, and the spirit world, the summerland, not a far distant golden heaven. All right? Because it's here in nature. 15. The sum of its prayers is, "Thy will be done by me." Its temple is that of nature, and all holy souls wherever they gather. And 14, it considers that all true aspiration, all noble effort is worship. So it asks that we worship the infinite spirit and the truth. Those are the aims of spiritualism. My next little piece is the rights of humanity. Humans are immortal beings capable of infinite progress, and their experience itself is incontrovertible proof that they have the right to all the essential conditions necessary for their health and well-being, and to say they do not defeat the object of their own creation. Okay? The rights of humanity. And there are 9 of those. Humans have the right to fresh air, pure water, wholesome food, warm clothing, and good shelter. For these are necessary for physical survival. 2, an opportunity to labor for the sustenance of themselves and their families in any direction, provided that the work does not interfere with the rights of others. 3, rest the physical body and have leisure time to cultivate their natural talents and abilities. All right? It's important to have our leisure time. It's when we are closer to infinite intelligence. It's when we receive inspiration and intuition from infinite intelligence and the aspects of infinite intelligence, which are our guides. 4, in education, for education is as much food for the mind as bread is for the body. 5, ask questions. To think and reason for themselves and to form their own opinions based on what they have learned and not on any external pressure, because this is the way they break the bonds of ignorance and superstition and become truly free. 6, follow your own conscience. You know what is right and wrong, and it is that truth that we are searching for. 7, liberty, as long as it does not infringe upon others' rights to the same thing, and as long as it is not confused with license. 8, the love and esteem of their families and friends, but they must not forget to give them the same kind of love and esteem in return. Right? Kind of goes along with the golden rule again. 9, our rights of humanity. Happiness. Always keeping in mind that true happiness comes when they live in accord with the natural laws governing the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Okay, those are the rights of humanity. Now, I'm coming up to our interactive part here. So I have questions, but I have the answers. So, what is the religion of humanity? Okay, anybody want to shout at that? Deers and headlights, that's what I'm seeing out here. Okay, so if you want to participate, just raise your hand. Okay, the religion of humanity is based on acknowledging, revering, and worshiping the divine in humanity. Okay, so we have to look at it, the God lives within and the God lives without, and we are all divine beings. Number 2 question. How can we measure the divine influence manifesting through us? Okay, this goes to the scientific part of spiritualism. We have to measure everything. Yes, ma'am.
One way is our joy.
The joy of living is one of the responses here. Thank you for sharing. We can measure the divine manifesting in our lives by the degree that our thoughts and deeds benefit humanity as a whole. And as one of my people who are now crossed over would say, be in joy. Number 3, how is the divine worshipped? Okay. And the answer is the most sincere adoration that we as a people can give the divine is in intimate divine attributes in every area of our lives. Okay, so this goes to the aim of spiritualism. All right? We're in perfection. We want to be perfect with God. Or as God. All right? The purpose of man is to achieve godhood. The purpose of God is to express life. So, because we are God within and without, then we express life with divine attributes. Yes, Eileen.
I just wanted to comment that I think, in our society we've become such perfectionists, and it's actually can harm people. I just want to interject that it's also so important to know that it's an eternal quest. It's not something that we have to obtain in the moment to be perfect, and also to be kind and loving with ourselves when we fall short.
Okay, so for those on the internet, audience here. The response was that we have to look at perfection as an eternal perfection, and that in our daily lives that people can overthink perfection and be OCD. Does that kind of sum it up there? Yeah. Okay, so being a Virgo, all right, I may have these perfection qualities. Okay, thank you, Eileen. Okay. What can we say is the prophet of the divine? Any stabs at this one? We can say that genius is the prophet of divine, and good Lord, you're looking at him. Okay. All right, genius. So, what do we mean by genius in this case? All right. We mean exceptional intellectual and creative power or spiritual insight. So that is what we are attaining for. What is the genius of spiritual insight based upon? We base this type of genius on divine love and infinite wisdom. What is the highest concept of deity? Okay, anybody? Infinite intelligence. All right. Principle number 1. Okay, next question. What is prayer? Okay. Prayer is the soul's aspiration or sincere desire to speak to God. Okay. And when we look at that, in my teachings, when we look at meditation, then meditation has 2 parts to it. The first part is prayer, and this is where God is transcendent, or this is infinite intelligence without. And this is where we send all of our intents or our prayers to, if you want to call it, the Summerland people. And then the second part of meditation is meditation itself, and that is God eminent, or immanent, the God within. And this is where, in our quiet solitude, that we receive our spiritual impressions to take action or be creative. How is prayer expressed? Okay. Prayer can be expressed in word, thought, or action. Okay. What are the effects of prayer? Okay. Prayer awakens in our spiritual natures the conditions of trust, strength, and feeling. And it draws to us benevolent spirit beings who are anxious to assist and bless us. Okay, this goes back to one of the teachings that ask and you shall receive. All right, so when we do our prayer, we actually have our intent out there, and that the spirit beings will be anxious to assist us. Right? They have to hear our petitions. Is prayer then a great power in the world? Yeah. Okay, everybody got that one right. So yes, prayer is a mighty power that influences the whole scope of being, not only yourself, but all of humanity. That is why in our healing circle that we send out healing prayers to the world and ourselves. What should possessing a potent force impress upon us? Okay, so we possess this potent force of prayer, but what should it impress upon us? Possessing the power of prayer should impress upon us the necessity for absolute purity, generosity, tolerance, and forgiveness. It's the aim of spiritualists, right?
Right. I mean,
Yep. That is correct. So, how do we use prayer to draw nearer to the supreme God Spirit or infinite intelligence? Pardon? Yeah. Okay. So we had an answer here. How do we draw nearer to God? It's so we can bug them. Okay. No, they're good because the more we do it, the more they hear. So it is through prayer that we can worship God or infinite intelligence in sincerity and in truth. Okay. In what lies the basis of the religion of humanity?
Compassion and love for both God and everybody else around us.
Okay, so the question or the answer was that to express love not only to ourselves, but everybody around us. Does that sum it up pretty good? Okay.
I was just trying to take a swing.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. And the answer to this is to study, honor, and glorify the infinite in ourselves. To recognize within us God as the infinitely small or the microcosm. To recognize on earth, in the heavens, and in the boundless universe that God is the macrocosm, the infinitely large, and in acknowledging the eternal mystery of God by attempting to understand the glorious creations of suns, systems, worlds, earth, humanity, and all created things. Within this lies the basis of the religion of humanity. Right? So you are correct on that. It's our prayers are very powerful. And when we look at our prayers, it's we're doing them through our thoughts, our words. Okay, words, I believe, are more powerful because they express your intent a little bit more. But thoughts are faster than the speed of light, and they are immediate. So when you send prayers or healing prayers to an absent person, like my aunt in California, then I'm going to send her healing prayers for her condition. And then it's infinite intelligence and the aspects of infinite intelligence, being angels and guides, will ride those thoughts and deliver it immediately. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to open it up to any questions. I mean, prayer is important in our lives. Yes, John.
Do you really think that when you pray to God or ask God and He changes things on earth for you? Let's say I ask Him to help my aunt who's sick with cancer, dying in the hospital, save or fix her, cure her, and then she goes ahead and dies anyway from cancer. And I'm thinking, well, I asked Him to help her, cure her, but He didn't. He's already going to do what He wants to do anyway. You can pray Him all you want. It ain't going to matter. He ain't going to change His mind. He ain't going to do something He wants to do. He didn't save my aunt. And a million other things. You know what I'm saying? Little things. But that was the main thing. But I asked God to save my aunt. And He didn't. He's going to do what He wants to do. No matter what you ask Him, pray for Him, get on your knees, go around, yell at Him. He's going to do whatever He wants to do anyway. So we don't need to ask Him, which He already knows. He knows that my aunt needs help, curing, saving. He already knows that. When I ask Him something, he's going, I already know that. Why are you going to even ask me? Why are you going to grab the energy to ask me? He already knows. So, you know, it's
Well, yeah.
consequential and stupid. You can ask Him anything. If He already knows. If you don't already know, then, you know.
Well, we all come in with a soul contract, so
You know, it's like,
there's.
people you can ask Him anything. But He already knows, and He already going to make it out the way He wants to make it out. And that's it, man. So it's a joke even burn that energy to ask Him for something. Or ask Him to do something. It's a joke.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Katie.
I just want to say, when I do the healings, I don't ask for healing. I ask for whatever is that person's highest good. Because I don't know what the trauma is. I don't know what agreed to suffer maybe, to feel that, or whatever. I have no idea. I just send them love. I just send them peace, do whatever is best for their highest good.
Okay, so Katie's answer to John's question, which John's question for the internet audience was basically if we have somebody who is ill and terminally ill in this regard, why should we waste our time and energy to send the energy to that person? And Katie responded by that when we ask for the healing energies, then it's going to work on all of our bodies, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and that energy is going to flow to what it is. But coming back to your question and going a step farther, it's then we all come in with soul contracts, and there are certain things with free will that if we have the aim of spiritualists, we're going to live a good life. And if we have any karmic issues that do affect our mental and emotional bodies, which can be the cause of, say, your aunt's cancer, then this is a karmic thing that's coming through. And when we send healing prayers, then some of the times when we send these prayers, it's to make them whole and set them free. So in some cases, the prayers are to set a person free from the earth plane. Okay, so the suffering's not there. Alina.
Well, I just wanted to say that we gotta be careful when we pray that we put our own intention in. Like, we may ask for something, but we have to remember that at the end of the day, we can dictate all that. Like, whatever needs to happen for karmic reasons or for any other reasons, we have to render to that, because to me, God knows a lot more than we do in certain realms and many realms, and we have to trust that. So if it was time for someone to pass, I mean, I experienced it with my own husband. I prayed for my own husband's healing for a long time until I realized he was getting worse and worse, and then I just prayed for, help me get through this. Help me get through this with my children. And help me find the wisdom and clarity to understand that he is going to pass because it's his time. I can't dictate that. But let's help us get through it and help him get through it. So, sometimes it's important that we take away what we feel needs to happen and render to what life needs to happen. And we can't dictate how that moves.
Okay, so Helena's answer to that was that when we pray, we have to have an intent as to being beneficial to the situation. And then all prayer should be benevolent. Okay, we don't want to wish any evil on anybody. And part of that, some of that prayer is prayer for forgiveness. Okay? And whether the person accepts it or not, but you've released that from your karmic state. And forgiveness is good for everybody. It's good for the soul, but forgetting hurts. Don't forget that one. All right, so eventually we have to get to the point where we forget it. Yes, Judy.
Well, any prayer that you do for anyone, especially when it comes to healing, you should always start with asking the universe to send what's the highest and the best for that individual, because that takes in the karmic side, the emotional side, whatever's the highest and the best. And in some situations, the highest and the best is exactly what you said, is a release from this physical plane.
Thank you, Judy. So for the internet audience, Judy Cooper, our associate pastor, stated that when we do prayers of healing, that we always ask for the highest and best for the person receiving that healing prayer. And then the universe or infinite intelligence and will answer that prayer with the highest and best result for that person, whether they are cured or whether they are set free. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I had seen something on the internet about someone who had a near-death experience. I just think this is fascinating what you're saying. And in her near-death, she saw all the prayers from around the world going up in the heavens. And she said it was incredible that they actually go someplace. So
Okay.
when you say a prayer,
Yep.
it's tangible.
Okay, so to your name again?
Patricia.
Okay, so what Patricia said for the internet audience was that she had seen or read that a person who had a near-death experience, and when they were in the spirit realm during that experience, that they could actually see the prayers from humanity going up to heaven. So it is, in fact, everything in the world is electromagnetic, and that our thoughts are that electromagnetic form, and that's the energy that's going up to the universe, to infinite intelligence. Yes, Eileen.
I just wanted to add, John, I had a daughter who was going through drugs and alcohol problem when she was a teenager, and I used to pray and pray and pray that she would stop using drugs and alcohol, and I finally realized that she
Okay, to state what Eileen said, and then we're going to close Lyceum after this, is Eileen said that she had prayed and prayed for her daughter to get off drugs and alcohol, perhaps, and that those were the prayers coming out, and that eventually she changed the prayers for her coping with the situation. Yeah, with Eileen coping with the situation. And then that situation took care of itself. Okay, so that goes back to one of our principles. We all have personal responsibility, and because the God lives within, the only one who can save yourself is yourself. All right? And I leave you with that. We'll close with a prayer. Infinite intelligence, we thank you for this gathering this morning, and we thank you for the messages that and prayers that came through today, and that we ask that this knowledge become wisdom to all those who received it. And so it is. Amen. And thank you, Internet audience. Okay.